Welcome back to some Persona 3 Reload. It's been a couple days since the last time I played, but we're gonna get right back in there like we never left. But so I can play game. I forgot all of what was on the. Yeah, okay, we're not doing this today. We're not gonna be doing this today, bro. I don't remember everything that was going on. I know I got stuff from her for my team. We already took midterms. I could learn something on this computer, I think. Digital cram school tomorrow's Thursday. Seems to be a set of practice questions from a famous school in mountains. Whether you're brilliant or average, your journeys here begins by answering questions all the same. Okay? I just try some questions in areas I'm studying right now. I finished answering all the challenges, satisfying set of questions. I feel like I've gotten better at thinking outside the box. Did you get my academics up? Oh, wow. I didn't know I could just do that. Okay. That was cool. Still didn't level it up, which means that I'm still really stupid. Sup, dude? So what do you think? Of what? About that girl, Fuka? I haven't lost hope that she'll join our team. Dude, I've actually seen her around, and yeah, she does look kind of frail, but that just makes me want to be strong enough for the two of us. Well, I don't know if I would want somebody on my team that's frail when we're fighting shadows. I don't know. That's just me, though. That's literally just me, though. Morning. Let's see, today I'll be covering the Kofun period in our history. I don't know though, do any of you think this stuff is relevant? I mean, I could slap together some clay statues that look a lot better than theirs did. I like teachers like this that like to step outside the box to teach things, instead of teaching things very boringly by the book that you don't remember. I still don't remember a lot of the history from the teachers that I did have that were like cooler, but this is such a better way of teaching, at least for me. More interactive. I can't wait until we get to the Sengoku era. It's so much more exciting. Speaking of Sengoku, there was this one general they called the Warhawk of the battlefield. It was like this turned into another Sengoku lecture. I'm feeling sleepy. Should I close my eyes for a minute? Stay awake! Get my academics up. Get my academics up. Come on, number three. Nothing, bro, nothing. Okay. Oh, I can hang out with him. I think I can hang out with this girl now that I've talked to her 3 different times. Hey girl, hey Chihiro.
Oh.
Hello. Oh hey. I was able to say hello to you. Although the more I think about it, the more nervous I get. I hope I can get better at this somehow. Let's hang out.
What?
Huh? This is so sudden. I need to think about it. Bro. Excuse me. I think she's willing to talk to me anymore. I should try again another time. Holy! She better level up every time I talk to her. Let's see what she gives us. But I want to level up Magician more. Very important. Actually, yeah, this is good.
Yo.
So, I'm going to head out soon. What about you? Looks like Tomodachi wants to hang out. Jack Frost, let's do it! Cool, let's hang out then. Guess what? We're a bond, bruh, no conversation. Our bond will grow stronger soon, so the next time we hang out, we probably get something. So I have to go back to the dorm. Okay. Man.
Oh, it's you.
Welcome back. It's strange. The number of apathy syndrome victims seem to be on the rise again. Eventually,
Huh?
Yeah.
Okay. I think we go to Tartarus today. Because something is probably brewing up again. And if we get to the max floor, for now, we should be good. But let me go here. Buy my stuff. Buy my things. Oh, hold on. 1 second. 1 segundo. Bruh. Oh, that's good. That's good right there. That's really good. Still out of style. It's okay. We still got a lot of things. So we should be able to get a bit of a good, decent amount of the way through Tartarus today. We're going to Tartarus, baby. Go, 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 go. Max floor, we keep climbing.
All right, let's get started.
Bam, bam, bam.
Careful. The enemy's nearby.
Stay sharp. Okay, here we go. There's no teleporter. We'll just have to barrel through for now. Better be prepared for the worst. Well, the teleporter was the floor right below, so I think we're chilling.
All right.
Enemy territory up ahead. Are you ready for battle? Let's go. You gotta be weak to something. Hands, fire.
All right.
Sorry, but we're breaking through. We're breaking free. Or maybe light?
3 targets. Take them out.
Grievous table.
This may be a good test of your skill.
Heretic magus.
What to do? Not that.
To one foe? All foes. All foes. All foes. Let's try this one.
Here we go.
Oh my freaking...
Someone cover for
Are you serious? Okay, let's do lightning. Okay, that works. Hey, now you're weak.
Go.
Her turn next. If I switch it to Junpei, can he even attack? Okay. What items can you use? Yo, F his HP, bruh. Aha! I knew it!
What's next?
Boo-foo!
Now, it's time to
So those little things should be dead now, hopefully. Wow, they're not dead. God, I forgot what a gem persona was tabbed into you holding a gun against your head. It's pretty good, ain't it? Yeah. You're not going next, buddy.
Now strike back.
I got hit.
You've been poisoned.
Inflicted with
Do you have a
poison.
cure?
Nice.
What to do?
What to do? You're done.
This is our chance. Let's wipe.
Come on, come on, come on. 69 I'm never doing that again.
Takeba's been
You
poisoned.
can't get up,
Does anyone
holy.
have an antidote?
Better watch out. Guess what the doctor ordered?
What is the thing? Get you back to full HP, baby.
Can't stop now.
You're gonna feel my wrath. Only 69 damage, brother G. How does that miss? He's not moving. Ooh, baby.
Successful dodge from Ashihiko. Impressive as always.
I like to see that one. And then I want to give everybody extra damage because I don't want him to do anything else. Yeah, there we go. Let's go and just kill him now. This isn't deadlock, bruh.
Pull the trigger.
Confused? He blocks that. Are you serious? Alright, you're gonna feel this one. 95. That is 30 more damage. Yeah, 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 yeah.
So
89. Now you're dizzy? Oh, yeah, now you're done.
You won.
That was good.
Move on.
That was good. Level up too.
Even better.
Oh, win to everybody. Yes. Ah. Yes.
right.
That went well enough. We still got a ways to go though. Don't slack off on the cooldown once we're back at the door, folks. It makes a world of difference in recovery speed. Did you MVP Sinclair? No, I didn't. I think I got him a little bit more figured out now though. I did really well in lane, but then after lane, like CCing people into hitting my bolts to do more damage, it's like pretty hard to like do for me right now. But I was getting tower damage. I could have got MVP off of getting tower damage, but my Billy went like to what, like 15 and 2. It was actually ridiculous. Shoot, the other day I was on zoinked. I was so zoinked I just passed out in my boxer on top of my bed. Sounds like you, Junpei. I'm surprised you didn't catch a cold. I guess my season vet like Senpai actually has some weight to it. Chuckle. He's seasoned vet, huh? That reminds me of a story from before you all came to the dorm. A certain person who, after an intense workout in his room, passed out from exhaustion, drenched in sweat, then woke up with a raging fever. That was just... I passed out while still wearing my socks. That's enough gabbing. Anyways, let's keep moving, Artorias. Can you get sick from working out and sleeping in your sweat?
Some pretty tough enemies, but they spice
What are
things
we
up
talking
every now
about,
and then.
bruh? Like a slurp.
Careful. The enemy's nearby.
Oh.
Don't tell me.
Another border floor? It's 7 floors from here. I suppose that means this is a border guard in a manner of speaking. We've got our work cut out for us. I'm counting on you. We got to do this 7 more times? All right.
All right.
Let's do it. I don't know how else we can't go back.
Hell yeah!
This may be a good test of your skill.
What to do?
Is there anything that does damage to everybody? I should probably just Bufu. Nope, that didn't work. Critical rate way up. Are we serious? Nobody's weak to wind here.
Very good hits. One step at a time.
Of course. Whenever we get him, everything's weak to whatever he's got going on. They're all weak?
You can do this.
Got it all mapped out.
I can handle it.
Hey,
You
it's
take
me.
this one.
Just leave everything to me. Let's see.
Ooh, this is good. Critical.
Wow, good job, Junpei.
Maybe we get something going on here. Maybe we get something going on here.
Paralyzed enemy. This is the perfect moment to strike.
I'll give him hell. Let's go.
How come you jumped to Sinclair? Because holy yeah.
On the floor.
Let's
Good
see.
job, Yuri.
Holy! Oh my gosh, Junpei! Because Support was like, dude, you should really play Sinclair for my 100 watch streak. And then he was like sick or something, so he couldn't play. I mean, he couldn't watch, so he's gone. Let's try this one. Still shocked.
In this situation.
Ooh!
Well done. Easy peasy. Let's continue.
Yeah, Shaquille wanted me to play Sinclair. And Hypernova just came back to. We all leveled up, holy. So lightning is just broken. I guess so, bro.
Looks like I'm
Jeez.
getting even stronger.
One foe's attack for 3 turns. Interesting. Might be using that.
What?
What's with these back-to-back fights? Yeah, this is the first. It's like pacing. Anyone? I can't get a read on a pattern for these floors. There's simply too much about which we're still in the battle. Dark. I need to prepare even more thoroughly and retreat promptly when we're depleted. Okay. So when is Billy? Hopefully Monday. Hopefully Monday. We got something happening on Sunday. Saturday we're playing Mecha Chameleon. So tomorrow's just gonna be like a grind rank up day, and then we got community on Saturday, and then Sunday we got the deadlock creator, like small creator, best 3 of 5. It should be fun, but we don't even have the teams yet. Oh wait, sorry, I forgot. I gotta read something. This is interesting to me. I don't know if I can read it. I don't know. I can't. I don't know if I can read this on stream, but I need to read this here. What? What the fuck? Bro, what? Hold on. Um... This is well that um whoa, what? What? Okay, well, share this. I don't want to talk about it right now. I just want to let's continue to play this game. Me talk about it at a future date, but I mean, this is. What did that say? Hold on. What did I say? We're really pushing the pace on our first day back. Are you holding up all right, Sonata? Yeah, pretty creepy place. I'm actually trembling right now. I can't wait for the next fight. Oh, wow. Look at this guy. You're smirking. What are you, the main character in a fighting manga? That's fine. Is it something bad? Yeah. Me when Big A can read. Bro, I can read. Good grief. You don't change, do you, Akahiko? Tori is our leader. Be sure to stay vigilant. I've been able to read, bruh.
With every battle, I can feel myself growing stronger.
I'm a Trulolin. Sorry. Nah, you're good. 34 and then 36.
Salut.
Okay, I think we just keep going. Bro, what you been up to?
Dude, ain't that a rare?
Ooh, 2 chests. World Cupping. Oh, how's the World Cup going? You know, streaming during the World Cup probably isn't the best of ideas. Because everybody's watching the World Cup. Ooh, Juzamaru.
Hey,
Let me see what that looks like. Or equip. And then we go to Junpei. 95. Oh! Yes. That's a good item. The Mexicans beat Koreans. That's interesting. How is the USA doing right now? Different enemy presence on the floor much higher up from where we are. Okay.
We don't see that kind of chest often.
Well,
Let's not
this
pass
floor
up.
should be chilling, I guess. Do one of them chill floors.
what the hell? Why's the floor so dang bumpy?
Okay. Wait, bro,
You can handle it.
where do you watch the World Cup?
This may be a good test.
Phantom Mage. These guys look pretty sick.
I'll go with.
But I don't know what they could be weak to. Maybe this. Nope.
Teammate down. Try to get them back up.
What should I do? Gonna use an item.
Time to redeem myself. I'll take care of this.
What's the plan?
Maybe we try light. It's resistant to fire. Okay, yeah. Let's try some light. Nope. You get sent to the shadow room.
Not good. You've been knocked down. You've taken heavy damage.
What next?
Can anyone afford to heal?
Okay, that also doesn't work. Okay.
Yori's in a bad spot.
Right. Let me just get an item to restore everybody's HP. Like, what the heck are these enemies? Okay. What the heck? Wait, let me look at these dudes.
Test of your skills.
Ooh yeah, da 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 da, baby baby, da 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 da. Ooh yeah, da da da. See if this works. There it is. Freaking, of course it misses, and then the main character just gets deleted. Not gonna lie, GG's. Metaphor tonight, maybe? No. What am I doing?
Yori's taken one down. Excellent. You're back up.
What to do?
Ooh, yeah. 12 strength versus 14 strength. You're about to get bashed, buddy. From me? Oh, you're gonna play it?
Trigger.
Oh, he's resistant to it. No, he's not.
Well done. On to the next. Let's
Ah, yeah. Okay, I found the weakness. It's freaking light, bro. F those guys. Well, you're saying you're gonna play Metaphor today? I'll watch you after I'm done streaming if you play it.
All right. We've covered everything on this floor.
There we go.
There's
We know what they're weak to.
chance to attack.
Fire. Hey, I could just do this.
It doesn't look like you can strike any weaknesses.
What you mean? We know it's weak to fire. Why are you doing that? Why are you being weird? Why are you doing that? Oh, wait, I can't. Oh my gosh, I need fire. Disturbing the peace. Look into my eyes. Hush!
Now's the time.
You're downloading it. Apologies. All right.
Can't stop me now.
Get out of here.
Enemy down. Keep that up, Yori.
Give him hell.
You're going downtown. Let's flip to it. XP, baby. We gotta level up.
Just kidding.
Doing pretty well.
I don't know if that was pretty well, but it went well. Eeha! Wait, what is that? Is that fire or is that like dark damage? Dark, yeah, that's dark damage. Okay. Get everybody healed up a bit. Oh, that's the way that we came from. This is the correct way to go. Bazinga. I could have sworn I already killed somebody. Oh, no. You are going down, buddy. I hate to break it.
All right, the enemy's down.
With the fire, you got him, Junpei. I got your back.
What's the plan?
Oh, yeah.
Enemy down. Pick that up, Iori.
Give him hell.
Oh, yeah. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Are we serious? That is ridiculous, bro. I'm not gonna lie. That is actually ridiculous.
This should help.
I owe you one.
I can read you like a book.
Successful dodge from Akihiko.
Ooh, yeah. Ma-na-ma-ma. Baby, baby. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Ooh, yeah.
Go for it.
I've got it. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba. Nuzlocke? When? Never in my life am I playing that. Ooh, that sounds great. 'Cause that was bullshit. I should have just ran past him, bro. That enemy is ridiculous. Mudo.
All right.
One shot everybody. Wait, why did she not get full? Yeah, I'm gonna freaking lose it. Why is she not full HP? I just dropped $1 million idea. What's your $1 million idea?
Yo, there's a shadow.
Deadlock Nuzlocke?
4 targets detected. Don't lose focus.
What to do? This is it.
All right, the enemy's down. There, you can go for a weak core. All right, the enemy's down. You should be able to hit a weak spot. All right, the enemy's down. There, you can go for a weakness. Unicorn. Now, it's rock and roll. Leave it to me.
Oh yeah. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da-ba-ba.
What's next?
Da 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 da, baby, baby, da 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 da. Ooh yeah, da 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 da. Yeah, get out of here, bro. All out attack would not have worked, and they would have got up and then killed one of us for free. Freaking ridiculous. Okay, first account to Eternus, and if you lose a game, you can't play that hero. Maybe only slight wiggle room with it if a player leaves or something. But what if you lose with every character? Probably take you more than 38 games to get to Eternus.
And that's a wrap, folks.
You feel me?
I hope you guys can pick up something from watching me fight.
Then the run's over. Oh,
Teleporter, but there's no need to head back.
oh. Do I like that? I don't think I would do that, to be honest. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah, I don't think I would do that. Okay, Yeah, I wouldn't do that. See, I do not want to play. I would just lose on Sinclair immediately.
Well done. We
Yeah, get me out of here, bro. I don't want to fight you, bro. You probably have one of those freaking Shadow Realm senders. Do you think people would watch? Well, I don't think that many people watched me when I played Sinclair today. So I don't know. Because I'm known for playing
don't see
Calico.
that kind of chest
So
often.
I think that would only work if I was already E6. So I think I get to E6, get MVP on every character, and then we could probably talk about something.
Stay focused.
What to do?
I did literally nothing. Ooh!
What's gonna win this? Let's go!
How does that miss?
Let's see.
Critical.
Can't stop me now. Not bad, huh?
Of course, he's on his back and that misses. Disturbing the beat. How? No sense is being made. Stay confused, you idiot. Apologies. Mhm.
I've got this.
What's next? Something on that.
Crit.
I'll go with.
Disturbing the beat. Look into my eyes. What about you loving about behind my back? And it's me.
One step at a time.
It's too late for apologies. Attack down, baby. Can you get critical? Totally.
What to do?
Maybe? Holy.
In this situation,
What's gonna win this?
Here we freaking go.
I've been waiting.
We're doing no damage. I low-key want to try DNS, but I'm not sure how this system works. I know they have like open divisions or something. I don't know how it works either, so I would not be the person to talk to about it. 54 damage. This is ridiculous. Where my crit strike at? Bro just keeps dropping things. That's a crit! It's too late for apologies. Okay, that was good. Yes!
Now let's move on.
Okay, now let's heal everybody up. That confuse is really good.
Went off without a hitch.
Let's use some healing items. He just dropped like 72 of these, so we'll just use these. Yeah, I don't know. You're E6, so you should be able to like join Deadlock Night Shift, right? Yeah, that's the home base. That's home base.
Maybe there's something.
Tarunda. Wait, he disappeared. I like that. I'm sure I can probably look for it too. Well, then do it. What are you doing? What are you doing? Not looking for a team.
Stairs.
Like literally, just do it.
Let's
You
see.
just not to go about doing it. Just DM somebody that's E6. You play against all these people. You probably like in the game, talk to them, be like, hey, how do I join?
There's a shadow.
Probably let you know. Lickety split. Oh my
This
gosh.
may be a good test of your skill.
Did I not get their weakness?
So the enemy's weak to light.
Bruh.
All right, the enemy's down.
What to do? Yourself.
All right, the enemy's down.
Hey, it's me.
It's all you.
Hey, that's the best.
I'm smart. I'm gonna try that. How did you not think of that?
Enemy down. Keep that up, Iori.
Give him head.
That's two fewer than before. Good job, Iori.
They might be resistant to this. Oh, they're not. Very good.
He's gonna win this.
One more.
Akihiko took out one target.
Can't stop now. Let's go.
Holy.
I'll go with.
There it is. There it is.
Now let's move on.
I never thought I could just ask them in game. I mean, like, what? Come on, use your brain. Use your brain. Use your brain. I don't like to me. It's just playing a game with them, but I forget it's like direct communication with them. Exactly, bro.
Went off without a
Literally
hitch.
direct communication with people that are doing the thing that you're trying to do.
It's important to know when to call it quits.
Well, it's a good thing I don't need to call it quits. No way, no how. We are chilling.
It's one of.
Iga. Who's that? Is that dark? Well, dark damage to one person. Okay. Yeah, sir.
Stairs.
It's a treasure chest.
I get a level up. To avenge. Holy.
And you'll have the first move.
What should I do? Now's the time. What next?
Well, but I can't. I need to get out of secret. Carry or not, I still lose. Well, you're not carrying if you lose. If you lost, you didn't carry, bud. I hate to break it. You're not carrying, dude. Okay, you have 11 magic, and you have also have 11 magic. Hide my back. Oh, but you're weak to dark. You're not weak to dark, so let's do this. Too late for apologies.
All right, the enemy's down. All right, the enemy's down. All right, the
Do you just always hit every time it's a weakness? From requirements that you want that everyone.
It's time for a full assault.
I can handle it.
You got it, Junpei. Hit me with some criticals. The vacuum slash. Holy.
I'll take care of this. I've got this.
Yeah, Junpei's the truth.
Let's keep this momentum up.
Great work out there.
My goat crit play. Holy. Persona slime. That is a new thing. They always hit if it's a weakness? Okay, that's good. That's good to know. What I get from the stuff? Go ahead and release this one. I don't level up from that? Are we serious?
Who's up next?
Viper's wrong in the low range because she literally kills people in nanoseconds. Have you tried playing my Calico build? Because nobody parries, right? I should be able to win with my build. Right? Be able to win with my build, right? Oh, snap.
There, you can go for a weakness. All right, the enemy's down.
Soul Dancer. Huh?
This may be a good test of your skill.
I can handle it.
Who's next?
I'm ready.
Get him, Junpei, do your thing. Disturbing the breeze.
In this situation,
Oh, my girl. My girl. I finished 23 a couple months ago, but still haven't finished the DLC. Apparently the DLC isn't that good, right? And then to finish it, but it's just so many fights. The one with the Roblox guy is a PFP. Just start playing balls to win one. What are you talking about? Oh, that's the build that you use. Experience, baby.
that's how it's done.
There we go.
Nailed it. Nice going, Junpei.
There's a chip.
Nice going, Junpei. Holy earrings. Holy earrings. Something that I would actually say.
That's a one-way teleporter. There's no need to head back yet.
Wait, what? Oh, you go this way.
That shadow looks way too strong.
I kind of really don't want to fight that dude. Yeah, just get out of here, bro. You way too strong right now for me.
Is that treasure?
Found the stairs. Want to climb up?
All right. Anything else on this side that I can get? Any goodie?
All right,
Nope.
We've covered everything on this floor.
Since
Nope.
we've seen all there is to see, should we get going now?
Yep. I got no SP. We got a boss. Okay, lock in.
The enemy's nearby.
We got a boss. Lock in.
That reminds me.
Woo, we can go back down. Okay, let's get to the boarded floor. This might be the one. 42. Damn, we're already at 42 floors? Holy. Yo, Avenge, if you want, if you stay up late enough, I'll watch you play a game of my Calico build, and I can coach you on how to have better macro. You want to max 3-2-1 or 3-1-2 depending on the comp. My main problem is I just farming, but I usually am good with farm on Infernus and 7. Insanely easy to farm in 7. Well, with the character that I play, you don't need to farm, because she just gets mad. Okay, that's like literally nothing. Oh, that's the wrong item. We gotta beat this boss. I'm getting absolutely nothing from this. Okay, I don't think I need that much more. Let's just go.
Salut.
Holy. Okay, let's go beat this cement wall. It's probably gonna be weak to like bashing attacks, maybe. I'd love to get coached, but I got work tomorrow, so I gotta wake up at like 6:30. Ah, freaking work. Well, it is what it is. One of these days. Move out, squad. Keep your eyes on me. Holding a baby.
I'll go with.
What if I hit it with some dark damage?
There.
Okay.
Looks like darkness has no effect.
I have to do this.
All right.
I'll take care of this.
Yeah.
Can't stop.
I'm pretty sure it's Bash. Okay, well. That didn't do anything. Are you not weak to anything? Nice.
Seriously?
Takeba's down. He needs backup. You got
My turn
well
now.
done. You're taking
Uh,
damage. You can afford to heal.
No, fuck, go ahead and heal everybody. Since Junpei's also missing a good amount of HP.
One step at a time.
Let's go ahead and do that. Attack down, baby.
Give 'em hell.
Well, you're also not weak to that.
Light attacks are useless.
Yo,
What to do?
there's no way Bufu is the answer, right? Yeah, it's slash. Bro's getting hurt by absolutely nothing.
Down on my knees here.
Akihiko's down. Someone do something.
Lol.
Pull the trigger. Focus.
We're just getting started.
So it just does any damage you do back to it?
Who's gonna win this?
We're just gonna punch you then. Ha ha!
Get in there.
Yeah!
This work.
Hey, look at me.
Come on, Junpei!
Leave everything to me. What's next?
Now that you're busted wide open,
Suck on that.
Excellent. Nice hit from
Give 'em
Iori.
hell. Let's go.
let's get that crit chance up.
So chosen.
Holy.
Good. You've been knocked down.
Holy.
Teammate down. Try to
In
get
this
them back up.
situation,
Yeah, we're just gonna bring you back to life, buddy. You freaking serious?
Not over yet.
One step at a time.
We're just gonna keep you with lower attack damage.
What's the plan? Something on that.
Okay.
I'll go with Persona.
Bash. 41.
What next?
Can I confuse you? Can I confuse this cement thing? Nice.
I'll take care of this. I've got this.
Iori's defense has been lowered.
Oh.
Launch yourself.
Oh yeah.
If you can distress the enemy, you might find an opening.
Let's see.
Opening found. No.
Takeba's defense is down. Be careful.
Ooh, that was close.
Oh.
Excellent. Takeba, dodge the trigger.
Let's go ahead and heal everybody up real quick.
Appreciate it.
Your defense is down. Watch for incoming attacks.
Wait, can I put the stress on him? Hold on, hold on. F it, dude. Actually,
One step at a time.
let's keep your attack down. And then
Takeba's defense is down. Be careful.
we're gonna hit you like that. And then, do I have distress on anybody? Oh yeah. It seemed to work before. Yes.
Akihiko's down. Someone do something.
What next?
Which you just keep healing everybody.
Thanks, dudes.
You just keep healing everybody.
The best bet would be
Hoof. Okay, maybe we can do something here now.
follow my lead.
74 damage. Yeah, never again.
What's the plan?
Your defense was reduced. Watch out.
Persona.
This is our
No.
Never mind. Am I up?
Come on, I'll show him.
It's all you.
I got your back.
Do your thing, bruh.
I'll give him hell.
I wonder if this does more damage. 80? It looks like it did.
Iori's been knocked down. Someone cover for
Can't
him.
afford to lose.
Takeba, are you alright?
In this situation, help me.
Like, what are we doing?
Thanks. Appreciate it. I'll take care of this.
Sonic Punch, baby. Jeez.
Now let's move on.
Ridiculous. Ooh. Ooh. Hold on now. Okay. 6 missed at me right now. Wants to play the clank. Okay, Doug. And I'd recommend putting the one on right click so you can easily daggers or sliding and shooting. I see Merc Mag anywhere. Well, we did pretty darn soon. Medium strike damage. That's way better than Bash. Yes, yes. And I get Rebellion. Wait, this is a good character.
Oh yeah, new move.
Oh my, 10% chance. Wait, that could be so clutch.
New skill. Gonna have to try it out.
Oh, that's really good.
Alright.
I'll try tomorrow. Take out the gatekeeper again. We'll need our way through here until. What is she saying? Is her thing not working right now? You're breaking up on us. Sorry about that. Testing 1 2 1 2. Okay, it's back to normal. Having any trouble on your end? We're pretty high up. The signal must be getting spotty. What do we do if we get cut off? Because you're sort of like our lifeline here. Reckon Recon isn't really in the wheelhouse of Mitsuru's persona. She manages well enough through supplement equipment, but even that has its limitations. Sorry to give you cause for concern. That being said, our equipment still has a bit more range to spare, so that shouldn't be a problem. I'll try to figure out the connection issue on my end. You all go ahead and keep exploring for now. Well, I think this is the end of the thing, right? Right? Please, right?
Dude.
Aegis best romance, by the way. Better than Takiba? Better than Ooh. What a tuxedo for? Nope. Nope. You look really dumb. I don't want it. He looks too dumb. Nah, nope. You look too dumb with that on, bruh. It's better than Takiba because you don't need charm for Aegis, Limamao. But okay, if you didn't need charm for Takiba, then is Aegis on the same level as Takiba?
Is this?
And this is as far as we can go for now. Nice work. That's another checkpoint under our belt. Come on back whenever you're ready. All right, come back. Old document. Ergo Research Lab is setting up a facility on this island. It doesn't make any sense. A rank and file researcher like me can tell what is about to take place on this island. On an island? That's Aura. Aegis way past still. I just have bias towards her, not sure why.
All right.
Aegis? Really? Aegis. I haven't even met her yet. I guess we'll have to see. I don't even know what she sounds like. I suppose she's a robot looking thing. Oh, excuse me. Maybe I'm a... Okay. Pause. Yeah, we're just gonna skip past what you... Yeah, nah. Okay. Make sure to never yawn ever again. Hello. I hate that I gotta do that sometimes.
Marvelous.
No.
Here are my requests. Wonderful.
Ooh, wonderful.
Wonderful.
Oh my.
Wonderful.
Ooh, wonderful. Hey, that's a
well.
lot of freaking money. Guys, see if I can make anything. 1 second. This could be really important. Yeah, nah. That's ridiculous, bro. If you romance Elizabeth, there's a special scene at the Max Social link.
Welcome to the Velvet Room.
You can romance her? I didn't know you can romance Elizabeth.
Registering personas? Is overwriting acceptable? I've completed registration.
What kind of persona?
Okay, Avenge, what is the best thing to make here? Level 26, holy.
You can't control
Holy. I'm level 16, that's 26, dude.
this power might be too much for you.
Like, Bufu at 22, like, is this really worth it? Not social link, I mean all the hangouts, like when you take her around town. You can't take Elizabeth around town. Am I tripping? Are you spoiling?
Take all the time you need.
You
I
can't
will.
control
I will
this
take all the time I need. How about that? Devil.
power. This power might be too much for
Okay, whatever, bro.
you. This power might be too
Yeah,
much
whatever,
for
bro.
you. This persona is powerful.
Oh, I need a fire persona.
This persona is
Oh. Insta kill one. It's a low chance though. It's a low chance, but like it's still a chance. Ma. Holy arrow. Wait, hold on. That's what Jack Frost.
This would be a wise choice.
Regenerate? I'ma just heal each turn? Huh. Wait. This is kind of cool. I don't know if I want to make this though. You gotta complete all 80 quests. Holy. Jack Frost Lantern, wait, Jack-o'-lantern carried me through early and mid game. I don't know. Who do I make? I can't even make Jack-o'-lantern. Like, I look at what I have.
Please take a look.
I, to please, choose the personas you would like to fuse.
I'm gonna take a shower and head to bed now, though. Good night, y'all. Jack Frost, Jack-o'-lantern, and King Frost are pretty good. How do I get Jack-o'-lantern and King Frost?
Take all the
No,
time
I don't know how to
need
get these
consider.
people. Gonna watch some Bleach before bed, though. Okay, but how do I get Jack-o'-lantern and King Frost real quick? Just real quick. These are the same thing. I guess I could get rid of both of these together.
Well then,
Oh wait, Jack-o'-lantern's right
take a
here.
look.
This persona is powerful.
Oh, you just gotta level up, twin. Hold on.
This would be a wise choice. Please choose what skills to inherit.
How strong are you? 8 strength? And do your social link so they can make your personas a more powerful type. Okay. So you're all about magicka.
Please choose what skills to inherit.
Wait, is crit rate only with physical attacks, or is it also with magical stuff? Oh, gotcha. Okay, but crit rate, does that work with magic? You think crit is mostly physical? Okay. Well then, in that case...
It appears it will receive a good amount of extra
Ooh.
power. Well then, shall we begin?
Yes, we shall. Jack-o'-lantern, baby! Social League bonus, yes sir! Show me something. Bro, I don't only works if you have them on at the start of fight. Yeah, that's true.
Oh.
I haven't been like paying attention. Oh, and I gotta buy it. I gotta. Oh my gosh.
Not the way we expected.
Oh, even more power. Ooh, wait, hold on. I mean, I don't have a dark item, so that's cool. But like, bruh. Okay, well, let me make Jack-o'-lantern again.
This persona is powerful.
Now, slime is tough. I've never had this happen. Nah, it happens. You played Persona 4 Revival? Yeah, I'm gonna play that when it comes out. Okay, Avenge, what do you think would be smarter? Use Unicorn and Slime for Jack-o'-lantern, or go and rebuy the other two? I'm low-key pre-ordering it. I don't know if I'm a pre-order, but I will definitely play it. Well, that's the goal, at least.
This would
I
be a
could
wise
do
choice.
this.
Choose what skills to inherit.
I'd bruh runs over GG's. Maybe not, maybe not. Maybe not what? Bro, elaborate. Oh, wait, are you talking about me not buying Persona 4? Bro, I'm locked on Persona. I haven't even beat Persona 3 yet. I'm hyped for Persona 6 though. Yeah, I am hyped for Persona 6 too.
It appears it will receive a good amount of extra power.
Hold on.
It appears it will receive a good amount of
I think this might be the play. This might be the play right here. I need to lock in and replay most of the games, but I play multiplayer games too much. Nah, Deadlock is the way. You know what? I'm gonna hop back on that P3 DLC grind tomorrow. Bro, I have a feeling that it's not that. I feel like people don't like that DLC. I've heard that the final boss in it is hard though. Let's see what it can do. Yes.
A new power emerges.
Jack-o'-lantern. I don't think I have any Bufu. Abrams mentioned. Jack Tight. Chances of inflicting rage. What is he? High chance of rage to one. Wait, what does rage do? Is it spelled Abrams or It's there's no H. What does rage do? Makes him tweak out and attack. Attack who? Attack me? There's lucky backs. I think they attack you. Okay, well then I don't want those. Okay. Okay, well, let me summon my doodads back.
So far.
My jack-o'-lantern's level 18. Can I use that? I don't think I can. Yep, you're coming back, but I hate to break it.
So you'll be summoning this one?
Yes, come back to me. Let me see what I have.
Choose the personas you would like to fuse.
I still have Jack Frost. I have Bufu. I have Zio. I have Bufu again. That means I don't need Jack Frost. I have Garu. And Light. And then I have Light, Dark, and Fire on this. And Zio again. So I don't need this one. Or, well, he gets Mabufu, actually. Mabufu would be pretty cool. I think I wait to get Mabufu and wait to level this dude up as well. And then I can put it on a different person. So I don't really need these guys. Yeah, I think that's the game plan here. I wish I got Thanatos, but I needed to max out every social link. Like, nah. Rage makes them use a physical attack instead of a magic attack. Oh, so if they're like a magical being making do physical attacks would counter them hard.
Very well. We look.
I think I'm good for now. I think. Make sure I have strength. I have strength, I have magician. I have hanged. Okay, so that's good. Those are like all the things that I really needed. Okay, that's really good. Save the game. Alright, Avenged. I know you want to sleep. You don't like us, bro. Whatever. Let's time that out.
Yes.
That was pretty good. We made it to the top. Leveled up. Got Jack-o'-lantern. And then we're going to get King Frost soon. Blame that shit on work. Freaking work, bro. I can hear people talking.
Have you heard?
I heard from a younger guy in my club yesterday that his second year is getting bullied.
Huh?
That's crazy. Which second year? I don't know. All I heard is that it's pretty serious. I thought our school was peaceful, but I guess stuff like that still happens here. Look, someone in the game in the same grade as me is getting bullied. What do I do with that information? But see y'all. See you later. Fuck Walmart. Effing Walmart.
All right, all right.
Gonna be in today's lectures. Okay, just today, lectures, another. Today, claim what you eat before you take a bite. I'll go deeper into meditation. First, let's review this ways a magician meditate. Hiding creative impulse for magical real world. Blah 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 blah. He's yapping, bro. Literally yapping. I was gonna sit here and read all that. No, I gotta stay awake though.
That is to say.
That is to say. And my controller literally just stopped working in the middle of all that. Holy! Yeah, I'm not reading that anymore, bro. Nah, that really should have got me up. But how much information he was spewing. Oh.
What a workout. I gotta teach those first years how to clean up properly.
What's happening?
So then, I pretended
Ew.
to take a picture with my cell phone, and she totally freaked out and started crying. It was like we caught her red-handed or something. You should have seen the look on her
She
face.
is ugly,
It was
bro. What is this makeup?
Wow, that's pathetic. I've never laughed so hard in all my life.
They're making fun of someone? Bullies.
Huh? Did you hear a voice? It's calling me.
Huh? What voice? I don't hear anything.
Maki? What's going on?
What's going on?
Are you listening to me? Maki? Hello? Oh. Huh? Are you feeling alright?
What the heck's happening?
Yeah, sorry. What were we talking about?
The heck? And then they just walk off?
They're finally gone.
What?
I can't stand girls like that.
What was that about? She off the fence. Facts. Alright, magician baby. Come on, level me up, baby. Give me to level 6. Yep,
Sorry,
she don't
man.
like you, bro.
I've got to pass this time.
Why? Gonna go hang out with your teacher?
I forgot I have to go check out that cram school today. Sorry, man. No time for ramen today. I mean, getting into college is pretty important, don't you think? You think about the future too, right?
I've got plans already.
Oh, dude, I didn't know you were so serious about your future.
Come on
I
now.
never really thought about my future until Emiri told me I should. She said I'd end up a loser if I didn't. But the future's a long way off. I mean,
That
I have
is.
to go to college first.
This dude likes his teacher? Called you a loser.
A bunch of Emiri's students go to good colleges. She must be thinking about our future together. You ought to think about your future too, man. I'd hate to see you end up becoming a loser, you know? That's why we
Holy.
gotta work our asses off for our futures.
Rank up, baby. Level 6. You know, if I did this first and then did the jack-o'-lantern thing, maybe I level up twice.
Later, I'm heading to cram school.
Welcome back.
Sade. Well, no more Tartarus until a big change, like a boss fight or something. So, we can probably buy something here. Wait, why is there exclamation marks all over the place? Whoa, what the heck are you doing here? Bam, bam. How is it still out of stock, bro? Don't piss me off. Don't piss me off!
Go.
Oh! No, hold on.
Let's see.
Hold on. Hold on. I gotta see what his stats are. 14 strength, 13 magic. I like don't know. His like thing is all about lightning. All about shocking people. He only has one strength ability. So did I increase his magic as well? Well, I think it just goes up on its own, actually. I'm definitely gonna hang out with him. It's me!
Yes. I've gotten a lot of my edge back since I've been able to focus on my training. I've been meaning to thank you for that. You've really stepped up as our leader. So tonight's on me. You've got enough responsibility as it is.
Good, I'm starving.
So you've got talent and an appetite. I think you'd make a pretty good athlete. Just don't push yourself too hard. Things will get easier with experience.
Double
If you need
U.
anything, let me know. I'll do whatever I can to help.
Excuse me. I knew it. You're Sanada-san from Gekukan High.
Bruh.
I heard you lived in Iwa Todai, but wow, I never thought I'd run into you here. We're big fans of yours. Please, can we get a picture with you?
How are you fans of this
I'm busy,
student?
and I don't like having my picture taken.
What did he do that he makes himself
There's
famous?
been rumors that you were injured. Are you okay now? Do you need any
We were
help?
having a whole conversation,
Is there
bro.
anything I can bring
No,
you?
you're good. Go ahead. You got hosed. There's more.
Who do you think that is?
Not sure. Celebrity, maybe? Want to go see?
These look like adults.
Let's go.
Wait, Sanada-san!
They just run to a different side of the same park. Same
I
place.
had this problem at school.
He's just got aura. Call him Gojo.
It's probably because of those interviews. Or the rumors online. I've gotten all kinds of attention as I've kept up my winning streak.
Sounds rough.
You could say that again. I'm not some panda in a zoo for everyone to gawk at. All I want is to be as strong as I can. I want to train hard and feel real pride in my strength. But all I ever
W
see
Pride
is
Month.
more trouble. All right, looks like they've given up. Let's head out to eat. For real this time. We only have so many hours left in the day.
Ba-dum-ba-dum-dum.
Hey, don't be like that.
Oh,
I know a
we're gonna
place that
save
is
him.
Perfect for us, girl.
Please, just leave us alone. We're not interested.
One drink, that's all we're asking. Come on, it'll be fun.
We said no, okay?
One drink? That does not sound fun. This is girls from earlier.
Hey,
Pride, I crack him.
you don't want the police to get involved, do you?
Who the hell are you?
What? You want to call the cops? Quit trying to act like a big man, you little punk.
Yeah,
Time for you to piss off.
Ooh.
You piece of...
Hold up. You got some slick moves. I bet you know how to fight.
Bro just said, "Ugh," and that was it.
What if I do?
How about you and I go a few rounds? If you ain't too busy, there's a spot around back. Whenever I see guys who think they're hot shit, all I want to do is put them in their place. I
You're
bet a lot
wearing
of
tight
people call
pants,
you a
Brody.
tough guy. So how about we put it to the test?
What? Is he scared now?
See? I told you. Nothing but trouble. Stay here. I'll be done in a minute.
What?
Bro has way too much aura, dude.
But don't worry. I won't go all out against an amateur. It's gotta be a fair fight.
Hey, over there! Break it up!
Voice from police car. It's an old game, so they didn't animate that part.
Told you, officer. They were the ones antagonizing us.
And I told you we'll hear all about it down at the station.
That's Sasuke's voice actor.
Aren't you? We'll need
That's
your contact
also-
information to notify your parents about this.
That's the same voice actor for Spider-Man in the Spider-Man games, and Viscus in Deadlock. And another character in other anime. I don't remember other animes right now. But that is Sasuke Uchiha right there, that second officer.
If I could butt in.
That's Gaara.
Kurosawa-san.
I'll handle these two. I've already cleared it with the
The
brass.
Spider-Man guy is Viscus, yep.
I don't know what's going on here, but you better not be starting any trouble.
It wasn't our fault.
Then why'd we get a report from two ladies saying you were attacked by a group of punks?
We're not a group,
They
we're
wanted
two
to test my
people.
strength. I was just giving them what they wanted.
In the middle of a public street? You really need to think things through.
Thought they went around the corner.
I'm an officer of the law. I don't care who you are. Anyone who disturbs the peace is gonna have to deal with me. As you can see, your friend here is a bit of a hothead. I know it won't be easy, but try and keep an eye on him, would you?
Leave it to me.
Those are some bold words. The thing.
Bruh, I'd persona the heck out of you, buddy. Don't play with
Way
me.
more dependable people now. There's no better time to test my strength. Especially now that we have so
It's about to get sticky.
We really lucked out on that one. So I'm gonna keep honing my skills. That way, I can put down anyone I face with my own two hands.
You really haven't changed at all. In any case, don't get in over your heads. I have a hunch the guys you ran into were from a gang that's been active around here recently. Just be careful. You don't want to get on their bad side, because once you're on it, you'll never get off.
So much for eating out. It's been non-stop interruptions all night. Kurosawa-san's right, though. We should probably head home. Sorry about this. I'll treat you some other time. I'm gonna do some jogging on the way back.
Gooning. What's up, Walter? Yeah, let's get our exercise in. Max out your stats.
It's dark, so watch out for cars. I'm gonna run ahead. You just follow at your own pace.
Bro thinks he's better than me, bro. How's it going? Pretty good. I got Jack-o'-lantern, bro. I ran back to the dorm. Would you crack your persona if she had a fat ass? Be honest. What's my persona? I gotta see my persona. Let my stamina's improved. Max HP increased by 5. 5 HP? Are we serious? That's literally no HP. I can hear people talking. Hey, have you heard about the second year?
Yep.
Oh yeah, the one they found lying in front of the school gate this morning, right? Hopefully she just ran away from home, but I feel like this is the start of something big.
You know what?
Yeah, there might be reports and camera crews and stuff. I'd rather not deal with that. But they not dealing with you. The first bell is rung. Some baddie would have. Then yes, bro. What?
Hey, did you hear about that girl in 2E?
That's Fuka, I think.
Yeah, I heard they have no idea what happened.
Oh my god, isn't it so bizarre?
Is that a JoJo's reference?
Man, everyone's
Bizarre.
talking about it. People sure got a lot of time on their hands. So, you hear about it too?
I'm not interested.
Girl
Nah.
from 2E went missing while she was out late last night. And this morning, they found her lying in front of the school gate. Nobody knows what happened. And supposedly, she's still unconscious.
What's in the front gate? They better freaking
Oh,
get her.
Yuta. Man, this is a tough case. Even for Junpei Iori, ace detective.
Ace detective?
Look at that. She just laughed at Junpei's joke. Why y'all saying she's like rude to Junpei, bro? She's mad cute and fun and like pretty. Like, what are you talking about? She's a good bro. All this Aegis talk, bro, like Sabelli for sure. Bring talking back Persona just to crack fine shite. Look that one up. Sabelli? I'm not looking anything up, Volunteer, that you asked me to look up, no cap.
You're so dumb.
More like Stupe, ace defective.
Haha.
Where'd that come from? Actually, now that I think about
Stupe?
it, I haven't seen you all morning. Where you been?
I was talking to the teacher. And that girl they found? I saw her yesterday on my way back from practice. She seemed just fine then.
Oh, that girl.
Huh. The plot?
That random girl. After school. Class is ended. Oh, I can't level up my Persona. It is Saturday. Saturday. She was off the fence. It's what it looked like. Yo, wait, Voltaire. Is Chihiro like lame? Is talking to her like a waste of time? It is a waste of time to talk to her. Is she gonna give me terrible personas I don't care about? I want good personas, bro. I'm not gonna waste my time trying to manipulate you into liking me if you're not gonna give me good freaking personas. My XP bar too low. I think she's lame. Alright, well, if you think she's lame, as long as you Yuko! Hey. The nightclub at the mall, right? I've never really cared for it since the place seems kind of sketchy. Here, a weird crowd hangs out around there. Like, there's some guy dressed as a monk partying hard every night. If we kissed on floor 50, would you pull away? There's no way he's a real monk, right? Are you monks even allowed to drink alcohol? I got a lead from Yuko about a monk who parties hard at nightclubs. By the way, are you heading out? Let's hang out. You didn't say no. I thought you were talking to Voltaire. Yay! The Air Athletics training regimen. And I can feel my body. Waste of time. I'm so no, bro. No. Yuko is Trish. Wait, bro, what do you think about Chihiro? Is Chihiro also trash? Also, pro, who's better, Aegis or Takeba? Ain't even a word. I'm tripling. No, bro, F you, bro. Yuko's the best romance. I gotta see the cast. Aegis is the blonde robot, I think. This is Takeba, right? Chihiro is the very shy girl that's in student council with the glasses. Long hair, student council, glasses. You gotta talk to me 72 times before we can actually hang out. That girl. This is a character he don't even remember. Holy.
Sorry.
That's all good. We're already caught up in Tartarus, but we ain't doing nothing. I'd probably pick Takaba. Ooh! You're the first person to pick Takaba over Aegis. Red hair clears Mitsuru? Holy! The redhead could get it while her persona wise. Yeah. We love bitches. Holy. Give me some SP, bro. Please, please. I need it. I need the SP. Give me SP.
Some new stuff. Take your time browsing.
Yo, why do you have negative SP items, bro? Yeah, you're pissing me off. You're actually pissing me off, dude. I'm getting angry. No, I'm getting angry.
Sell in bulk? Alright, I'll take that. Uh-huh. What are you looking for?
Boom, 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 boom. Ba 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 ba. Ba da ba da ba ba da ba 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 ba. Ay, ay, ay. Ba da ba da da. Ba da ba 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 ba.
Got some
ba da ba da da ba da 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 dee dee dee. Ay, ay, ay. Ba da ba dee dee. Ba do 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 do. Ay, ay. Ba do do. D D D A 31. Ba-do ba-do-do. Ba-do-ba-do-do.
I have no idea what as long as you need.
Ba-do-ba-do-do. Ba-do-do-do-do-do. Ba-do-ba-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Hey, hey, hey.
What are you looking for?
Ba-do-do-do-do-do. Yeah, yeah.
What are you looking for?
How much longer are you streaming for? I'm streaming until 12, which I think is an hour. So charismatic and likable. Why would I? He's a little girl at playground.
Picking something that complements your physique.
Yo. Need your fans to see peak. What do you mean by that? I thought you were gonna do it so I could. What do you mean by that? Did you get the gym crush? Nah, she wasn't there today. But I think I need this. Equip. Don't sell, maybe. Footwear.
As long as you need.
Oh nah, 3 agility is freaking the bee's knees.
What are you looking for? What are you looking for?
Yeah, F it, bro.
Take as long as you need. That what you want?
I like these, and we're gonna equip them. Then we'll sell those boots.
Uh-huh. Take as long as you need.
20 HP. Now we're talking a little bit.
I have no idea what you're fighting out there. Just don't get in over your heads. Everything look good here? Alright then. Take as long as you need. Everything look good here? Alright then.
Oh, I have no money now. Holy.
All done here? Come back soon.
I didn't realize I was spending all of my money like that. Okay, well, I don't think I can do this probably. Academics. Bruh, I think Baby's probably my favorite. The best is Sundown. I ain't got no money now. Maya's good because of the twist. Who's Maya? Where does Monk at? Gamble fortune? Yeah, I think I'm good. Do I need to gamble? Ooh! Alright, Volunteer, is this dude good to talk to? Yuko's was nice and wholesome. Maya, the deadlocked girlfriend, that's probably a guy. You can't yet. Okay, well. Well, what the heck do I want to do then, bruh? He just yells at you, bruh. Why is everything okay? Hold on. Let me buy. Sky. Why? Vibes. Do these level up at all? Heck no, they don't. They're so bad. I think I'll just go to bed, bro. There's like nothing for me to do. I'll just study, bro, I guess, since I don't have money to buy academics. Holy academics. And then tomorrow's Sunday, so I can talk to Sun, probably. I just never been a fan of the main four romances. If I had to choose, it is Ahsoka. I got a text message. Guess who's bored? Yo, she really likes me. She really likes me. She really likes me. But I should probably hang out with Sun, right? She wants you badly. That's what I'm talking about, though, for real. No school today. I could talk to Hermit the Frog here, but... Right? Wait, where's Sun at? Wait, I thought Sun was here on Sundays. Papa Lie? Where is he, dude? Okay, my bad. Sorry, I was moving too much. Okay, Volunteer, should I hang out with Yuko or hang out with Maya, the hermit? Maya? Is Yuko just for because you like Yuko as a romance? Or is like her persona's actually good? Is her persona's actually good? Like, don't blue ball me here, because I'm definitely not romancing her. No, I give you or persona is Thanos. Then why don't I hang out with her? Why don't I hang out with Yuko? Because she's literally Thanos. You go if you want the persona. Then Maya for what? What's the point of me talking to Maya then? Maya's a better confidant in my opinion. She has a solid persona. So Maya's persona is actually Thanos. And Yuko's is freaking like Iron Man. Duh. Yo, Pro, are you like on drugs? Why did you do that? So you went from solid. Everyone has that command. Nobody has that command, bruh. Maya's better than average, but Yuko's is Thanos. I can name 3. Nah, name 10. Now go ahead and name 10 people that have that. Girth. Yuko's like top 3. Whatever, bro. PP. Holy. I'm in the dungeon. I see Maya. Hey, Maya. Whoa, did you just get here? We signed on at the same time. It's nice to down. Let's go outside in game. Duh. Trasto. Shinagawa. A gray colored sky stretches as far as the eye can see. A barren wasteland lies before Tatsuya and Maya. Maya's stretching. For an apocalypse, the air sure is nice out here. Yeah, right. It's just a game. We should go level or something. I'm so lazy, IRL, Tatsu. I haven't even gotten dressed or put on makeup. Maya stands at attention. I'm so pissed off right now. Mr. E is such a stupid ESOP. Who's Mr. E? I'm interested in what she has to talk about. 3 stars. How is that a 1 star, bro? Like, literally. Bruh, like, what do you want me to answer, bro? Can I rewind? Zero Riz. They're the main players near Nemor. Most of them left for that new MMO, Cow. Dang it. There were a lot dupers and gold farmers, but still. It's good those because it lets us talk about personal things, right? Maya's a shy girl, you know, blush. See, Mr. E is a teacher who kind of above me. Oh no, you can't figure out what my job is, can you? A drunken master. Right? I got a Riz. This is playful. Freaking Maya, dude. How was that only 1 star, rah? How was that? Nah, I gotta restart the whole engagement, bro. Like, are we freaking serious right now? That is so like. You're a teacher? Are you a teacher? It's like, bro, it's like confidence takes you so long. Game's over. I gotta pack it up. I gotta restart the whole run. I wish. Oh, I'm a teacher. Surprised? No, I just figured something out. But I complained to you. I feel better afterwards. From now on, we have to party up together. Okay? Promise? Maya feels comfortable talking to me about real life. Feel like we're growing closer. So this is a teacher. This is a teacher that goes to my school. It's probably my actual teacher. If we're looking at Persona 5, right? So, then it's going to be weird. But then I'll be able to talk to her in-game. Facts. I'm literally a genius. I'm so pumped. I think I'll clean the bathroom. XD, it's been 2 months. I cracked. Midas player signed off. Midas signed back on. Don't tell anyone about that SOB stuff, okay? It's our little secret. Midas player signed off. I decided to log out as well. Holy. Evening. Yeah, the only people that didn't figure it out were 10. Out we 10. Were you in your room all this time? Yeah, what about it? I was talking about teacher. Hold on. Why you dressed like that? What's good? No, I'm good. No, I don't want to waste my time. You think she the most attractive girl? I no, she got like pretty hair and whatnot, but her attitude, bro. Look, she's standing with attitude, bro. Imagine talking to somebody that stands with attitude like that, bro. No, thank you. But then look at your girl over here. Look. Who you texted? Who you texted, bro? Who are you texting? He was jerking off, yes. I need me a confident woman. I don't want a sassy woman. A hand on the hip, that's wild. Not the hip hand. Not the hip hand, bruh. Dude, imagine going limp on the stairs, bro. Bro's gonna fall and crack her head open. Yo, can y'all stop? They're stocked. Can we get more? Like, can you stock up more, please? Like, what? Bruh. Every Sunday, I'm guessing. I'm sassy, though. They need to match me. If you're sassy and you date somebody that's sassy, y'all are going to become toxic, and you guys are not going to stay together for long. She on her phone always. You call, you don't care about you. Let me paint a view. Hey. My okay. Hey, wait, what are the 3? Oh, it's over here. Hey, you wanted to talk to me?
Good day. Here are my requests.
Alright, whatever.
Very well.
Alright, whatever. Yeah, whatever. What are the 3 sides? Hey. Oh, it's this thing. Ah, no, my room. A blue room, lady, second for sure. Heck no. No, hold on. I almost wasted valuable time. I could have still been studying. Make sure you're always doing something. Oh, that's the sound. That's the sound. I'm never leveling up academics, bro. It's never going up. Oh, my shirt's off. We're switching to the summer uniform today. Holy. It's almost time to leave.
Good morning.
Good morning. Imagine talking to somebody I talk to like that. She like sassy, but like also very strict, bruh. I'm good. Student body seems to be rather restless. Is that so? You don't sense it? Well, I only hope it doesn't have anything to do with shadows. Akihiko said we may be receiving a new member, but we still don't know when we'll be attacked, so remain alert at all times. After school, come on, easy day of school. Anybody in the hallway? Yuko! Of course you're not here. Nice. No. Wait, have I ever been to the 3rd floor? Am I tripping? Aha! Who just be leaving these around? Okay. Windmills. And then, yes, I'm gonna immerse myself and run all the way to where I'm trying to go. What you selling? No, 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 no. Where'd them all? Oh, is it the fat kid here? No, let's go here. No, this is powering Night Island. Makes sense. Mako, why are you crying?
I don't know what to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
My dad.
Yeah. Oh. Oh. No. I should sit with her until she calms down.
Dad.
Oh. Oh. Oh, the heck no, man.
It's not fair.
I mean, sometimes you gotta discipline your kids, but like with the whole divorce thing, you know, it's probably, you feel me? It's probably not. You feel me?
Yeah. You think so too? That's mean. Stupid Beanie. All I did was ask why they're getting a divorce.
Holy.
He got mad at me and said to stay out of it.
Holy, why would you hit your kid for that?
Dad yelled at me and he hit me.
Holy alcoholic.
Then Mom said it was my fault for asking so much.
What? They're both angry at your bro.
Here?
They would never.
Never? But then, why do they get so mad?
Because they're freaking terrible parents.
I ran away from home.
Oh, no, no,
I
no.
want to know how they really feel about me. If they love me, they'll try to find me, right?
Don't do that.
It's a secret, okay? Don't tell Mom and Dad I'm running away.
Bruh.
I know you won't tell.
Yo, in real life, if a kid tells you that, are you gonna just say like, all right? You have to tell the authorities. Telling a kid to run away, like what? That's gotta be crazy. To be like, all right, you do it and do that.
I have to go now. Let's play again sometime.
Holy. Parted ways Mako and headed back to the dorm. It's like, what? Why? What? What? You definitely going to jail. Duh. What's happening?
Hey, Yuka-tan. You ever check out the student message boards and stuff? You know how last week that girl was found by the front gate? Well, now, they're saying it was an angry spirit from this one ghost story that did it.
Come on, nobody really believes that stuff, right?
What's this ghost story about?
What? It's probably made up. We don't need to go into details, do we?
I'm interested. Go on, tell us.
You got it. Here goes.
Ooh.
Good evening, and welcome to Junpei's Believe it or don't.
This is
There are
interesting.
many strange things in this world.
Where did he get the flashlight from?
Late at night, after everyone has gone home, a maniacal ghost roams the halls and devours anyone caught in its grasp.
Corrupt Sona?
The
What
other
is that?
day, this friend of mine, let's call him Witness A. Anyway, he said to me, "Hey, Iori, I saw something weird the other day." He sounded so serious, so I asked him what he'd seen. He told me he saw the girl
From 2E.
and claims
Per
he
Epstein
watched her
Sona.
go into the school on the night
Epstona.
the incident. I told him I don't believe it, not even for a second. That girl from 2E ain't the type to go wandering around at night. But Witness A was as white as a sheet. He swore to me it was true. Then it hit me. If the girl was found unconscious at school, then maybe the ghost really did make her its dinner. It made sense. She went to the school at night and walked right into its deadly trap. I felt a chill run down my spine, and I broke into a cold sweat. Yes, there truly are some strange things in this world. Believe it. Or
Believe it like Naruto. That's interesting. I wonder if we're gonna
What do
meet
you
this
think,
girl
Akihiko?
and talk to her.
Seriously? Not one word about my amazing performance?
I'm liking Junpei more because of that. That was
Does
pretty
sound
good.
Like it's worth investigating.
So, you're afraid of ghosts, huh, Yucatan? Didn't know you were such a chicken.
What? Who are you calling a chicken? Fine then. Let's investigate it. Each of us will ask around for the rest of the week and gather information. This ghost story's just a bunch of nonsense. I'll show you.
Sounds good to me. The story is a bit unnerving, isn't it?
We'll leave it to you guys then. Would have been too scary for me.
LOL. But better, oh, dude, come on, bro. Oh, they get the whole gang hanging out, except my girl. She hard at work. You feel me? You feel me? You feel me? You feel me? I don't think there's anything I can do because I have no money, so I should just study. I'll study till I get to level 3. Actually. Yeah, we'll study. And then we get to level 3, then I'm gonna go work at the shop and get my charm up and whatnot. Can you level up, please? I'm never leveling up. Oh, what's happening? The little kid's back.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm back, just as I promised.
Yep, you are.
How have you been?
Get out of here, Ra. It's you.
I'm glad you remember me.
I didn't even know your name.
In another week, the moon will be full again.
Yeah. What about it?
The next ordeal will be upon you. Be careful.
A week from
Until
today?
next time.
Monday, next Monday. Thank you for letting me know. We got a week to prep. But my team already stacked. We're chilling. My team already stacked.
Morning.
Hey, talking butt. How you feeling? I'm just gonna do my best from today onwards. With what? Good luck.
Hey, listen.
The ghost story, duh. Did you already forget what we talked about last night? But whatever. I'm gonna look into everything there is about it. Remember, we'll share our findings on Friday. Could you also try gathering info too? Like maybe you could talk to some students after school? Bruh. Slime them out.
So, in this section,
Right now, I'm trying to finish Final Fantasy VII Remake or Rebirth. I remember whenever I played Final Fantasy VII, it was actually pretty fun, but it was very linear. So then whenever they came out Rebirth, I didn't really care to like get into that one. Monogatari, that's an anime, Monogatari. All the just tales, so found in the ones about the vengeful ghost wife. Such an eerie yet poignant story. Speaking of which, I've got a pretty good ghost story of my own. Can you hear it? I'm feeling sleepy. No, we're gonna stay awake. We gotta get our academics up. Academics, you can yap about whatever you want, bro. I don't care. Come on, that's gotta be it. Bruh, I'm at Remake right now. A little late in years, but that was like in 2020 or 2019. I could hang out with you, but I need to talk to kids. Wait, where am I supposed to go to like get information? Do I actually have to talk to kids to like? Do I need to talk to people to like actually get stuff? Yeah? Yeah, let me go talk to people. Yeah, no. Oh. Right here. The ones with the cards levels your bond with that person, and the bonds upgrade your personas. I know that, but we're trying to like figure out this ghost story. I don't know. Freaking hate when I bump into that. So I need to go like listen to people just yap about it around school. Said a girl in class 2C fainted too. I heard it's apathy syndrome again. I wonder if it's contagious. I already told you she got it happen to faint in front of the gate. Apathy syndrome is so over exaggerated. They'll get better if you give them some time. Xavier. Okay, so I already heard that one. Not gonna talk to Chihiro because she's a LARPer.
Hey there.
Nah, there's no meeting day. My day just doesn't feel right with that one. Don't you agree? I don't know what you're talking about. I never expect anything like this to happen to someone from this school. Okay? She's got him too. She's not the kind of girl that stays out all night. Anything of interesting value? WLARP. I'm so good at LARPing, bro. Come on now. Don't play me. Some may say I'm the LARPiest. I'm gonna go back upstairs. There appears to be nobody to talk to. Oh, hey, you. Okay, I talked to a bunch of kids at school. Let me hang out. Let me hang out with my boy. Let's do it.
Sorry.
Make time for me. I appreciate it. This dude seems upset. I'm not really in the mood for ramen today, so let's just head to Wild Duck. Wild Duck.
I can't eat.
Holy powder. What happened, man?
Sure you
Only
wanna know?
one?
I don't think we're gonna get to eat together like this anymore.
But, cram school?
To be honest, something's been on my mind. I saw a magazine in Emiry's room. Guess what it was called?
Pick last one.
How'd you guess? Man, you're amazing. When I saw that magazine, it got me thinking. And I've made up my mind, man. As soon as I graduate high school, I'm gonna marry Emily.
Holy. Sure, whatever. Congrats.
Thanks, dude. I'm seriously in love with Emily, and I'm gonna marry her.
Yeah, you go ahead and do that, man.
Then Emily Kana will be known as Emily Tomochika, and I will make her the happiest wife ever. Sorry, I just want you to back me up, you know?
I got you, bro. Don't worry. You just give me my persona up, bro. Yeah, you do whatever the heck you want. As long as my persona goes up, I don't care. It ain't me. I ain't doing that.
We should get going. I wonder how many more times I'll get to walk home with you like this.
Yo, why you sound like things are coming to an end, bro? It's not over. I decided to walk home with him. I don't know how to say his name still. Am I a goober? But sup, dude? Wanna go to TARDIS later? No, I don't want to go to TARDIS later. I want to twiddle my thumbs. Thank you very much. We're gonna study till we get our academics up. Come on! Are you? Yeah. It's never happening. Next day? I think it's almost 12. I think after this day we'll call it. Sup, dude? Are you looking into the ghost stories, like asking around about it? Of course. Really? Shouldn't we just let Yucatan handle it? I think she's taking this way too seriously, dude. Guess she can be pretty stubborn. I've got better things to do. Besides, I have plenty of scary stories up my sleeve. Better story I told the other night made your hair stand on end. They say it's true, though. Yeah, whatever. Class is ended. Time to go find more ghost stories, I guess. Any yappers today? Ooh. I'm too good at what kind of stuff, so not talk about it, okay? Not scary, just like if you're the last one left in the school building, you'll hear a creepy PA announcement. A sobbing old lady's voice comes on the speakers, and if you don't leave the school within 42 seconds, they'll find your corpse covered in bright red blood. That's all. Bruh. We're just LARPing, bro. You down to get some stuff done? You down to love me up? Today's Wednesday, which means... Well, I can talk to her today. But she's here, and she's not always here, so let's do it. Hey! Let's do it. Let's go! You and me!
Straighten your back! And don't forget to swing your arms.
Bam, bam, bam.
Guess what? Guess what?
Bam, 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 bam.
I swung my arms really hard, just like you said.
Whoa, seriously?
I don't think running's about swinging your arms as hard as you can.
Next time, I want you to try running with your toes raised. You'll go even faster that way.
Got it, Coach.
Phew. I did a lot of research on this, so I'm glad to see it's actually working.
That's nice. Lovely, actually.
I gotta do a good job.
Thanks.
I even used the school library for the first time to put together a training routine. I gotta say though, I'm amazed how much their times have improved just from correcting their form. Elementary school kids really learn fast, don't you think?
It's because you teach so well. I'm so good at glazing. 3 stars.
Oh, I don't know about that. But hearing you say so does make me feel like I can do anything.
I only got 2, bruh.
Oh, these kids really give it their all.
Oh.
That was a demon sprint.
Sounds like a demon slayer breathing technique.
Okay, one more round.
Hey, hold on a second. You're all supposed to be on break right now. It's important to take time to get good rest. Kids your age need to be careful not to overdo it. You could get really hurt.
Yeah, but there's no time for that. We can keep going. Come on, we gotta show our fighting spirit.
I suppose we do only have so many days to train here. I don't know. What do you think? Should I change the training routine? Maybe they should be running more.
Oh, every time I go with whatever she wants, she kind of is like, I don't know if I have the best idea. To only have so many days to train here. I don't know. What do you think? Should I change the training routine? Maybe. Yeah. Every time I go with whatever she says, she's like, I don't know if I have the best ideas. So I'm gonna tell her to. Maybe you should rethink it.
No, I don't think so. Our #1 priority is not getting hurt. All right. So you stop running when I tell you to stop. That's a promise you've got to keep. But in return,
like what,
I'll make sure
bro?
you get faster than you've ever.
Why even ask me if you're not gonna go with what I say? Like that was a setup. You just wanted me to glaze your opinion, bro. What? No, whatever you say, that's what you should go with. Whatever.
How does that sound? Think you can keep that promise?
Monty, coach, you're on fire.
What did you just call me? All right. Those who agree to the terms, go back to your break.
Okay.
Oh, sometimes I can't tell if they're actually listening to me or not. This kind of feels good, doesn't it? Like some coming-of-age story.
You're gonna ask me a question and then you want me to glaze you?
So, thanks for giving your input earlier. Honestly, if I was on my own, I would have let them keep running. I'm glad I asked you to coach with me.
Okay, well, I told you to rethink. Yeah, okay. Whatever, bro. No, whatever. #5.
Oh, by the way, the kids seem like they want to run with you. Do you think you could do just one lap? It'd be setting a good example for them.
I practiced with the children until the sun went down. I just headed back to the room. I should get my stamina up from running with them like that. Come on. Come on. Wasting my afternoon. I could have went and hung out with somebody else. Get my stamina up.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. And that's gonna freaking do it, baby. 16 hours. Looking fantabulous. Good stuff, good stuff. Good progress. Every time I play this game, I feel like I'm making good progress. We got to the breaking point in Tartarus. We leveled up a bunch of confidants. We upgraded our group and made Jack-O-Lantern an amazing persona, apparently, for like the early mid game. And we're progressing through the story. Good stuff. Great stuff, even. Thank you guys for hanging out, though. I am gonna call it right there.